Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of the Five-1 Speedway Show. This is episode number 5. We're lucky enough to be with an ex-rider who's turned promoter in recent years. This guy has had a number of clubs. We just counted them up and there's 17 clubs in total. So he's done a bit of travelling in his career. As well as being a good club man and everything, he's managed to win the Conference League Riders' Championship and win a host of honours with clubs as well. It's my greatest pleasure to introduce and welcome to the show is David Mason.
Hello, how you doing?
We're all good, mate. We're all good. Oh dear. So how's the brilliant 2020 been treating yourself then?
Well, I mean, like when this whole thing started, and we had going back to Speedway, we had obviously Birmingham's team, ready to go. We wanted to, make it obviously a better side because towards the end, I mean, the guys that were in the team at the beginning of the year the year before, were okay. We just obviously we didn't have enough firepower really, but towards the end when we brought him Adam Ellis, and we started winning meetings, which was good. But the beginning of the year, this year we wanted to kind of kickstart it, and we wanted to have like a team that as soon as we're winning at home, one after the other, and we were kind of, I think, the top, the bookies top 3. So, and then this dreaded COVID turned up, and then there was at one point we were going to lose and then I think obviously with the flights and everything, and then it did actually out that COVID started to cause a lot of problems for everyone. So yeah, it's just really strange old time, and yes, it's just a funny one.
Yeah, I mean, fortunately speaking to James Shanes in the very first episode, he was telling me that it's been so weird for him, coming back off that back injury he had. He was looking forward to coming and riding at Birmingham, and then this all happened. Fortunately, he managed to get out on the grass a bit, and do things like that. But looking to next year and everything, are you going to be hopefully trying to keep the same sort of 1 to 7 that you would have had this year then for next year?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully, certainly less 1 anyway, because he's decided to put himself inside. So,
okay.
As far as that's, yeah. So we're only a 6-man team at the moment, but I mean, who knows what next year's going to bring. As far as I hope a bit more. I will say that obviously Lawrence does a lot of this work for us as well, because obviously we're busy as a business, cleaning business. So Lawrence takes the the ropes, as they say, the reins. So yeah, he but we're waiting to just find out. I mean, going back to the COVID, they've extended the furlough, haven't they, till end of March. Who's to say this is going to be going away? Who's to say we can start a season in April? I mean, I know that Rob, Godfrey and team are working so hard behind the scenes, to try and put this, behind us, and and work and get it ready for 2021. But it's no one knows, do they? No one knows what's going to happen, and we've just got to pray and hope that there will be a season of something next year, and I hope for the supporters that they stay and for every team, for every club, because it's a tough time at the moment, and we've just got to be everyone. Speedway is a close-knit family anyway, but everyone's just got to stick together, and hopefully we can pull through this. And who knows, 2021 could be completely different. So yeah, who's like last year, if I turn around and said to you, you'll be wearing a mask going into a supermarket, or we're gonna have a lockdown, you'd go, what, are you mad? Is something wrong with you? So who knows what next year's gonna bring, but I mean, they've done well to get the the few meetings on this year, and it's been tough on the riders. Obviously, the riders need the meetings to earn money, and vice versa. So it's it's to be in that sort of sport. I mean, every sport, including football. I mean, it's tough. Speedway's not big enough at the moment to kind of go the way the football have done in the Premier League. So we've or Premiership. We've hopefully it can turn into a good year next year. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, everything fingers crossed, and obviously the stuff that's filtering out on the Speedway GP website with Rob saying the other day that all the clubs are raring to go. So that's always a good positive sign. But moving away from what's to come and everything, let's look at your own career. And I mean, I said right at the top of in the intro that you had a fair few clubs, 17 in total. Ironically, finishing in 2017, which was obviously not planned, but hey ho. But going back to the very start of it, I know that you were Eastbourne mascot for a year or two, as well as riding on the Eastbourne Junior track. So what are your sort of early memories of going sideways?
Call coming in. That's bad, isn't it? Sorry about that.
Don't worry.
Sorry about that. That's what happens when you're on live TV as such.
Exactly.
No, yeah. I mean, I started, on the junior track, I think back in 86, stroke 87. So, yeah, I mean, my memories were watching these bikes go around and Dad trying to, make me get on a bike, and I didn't want to get on this bike. And we'd only gone there to go and have a look at, I think we were, at the time, they had a market out the back.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I think Mum wanted some vegetables or something, because back in the day you didn't have the supermarkets that were open on a Sunday. So I think she wanted some vegetables or something. Anyway, walked around this market and the junior bikes are going around, and Dad was like, "Oh, you can hire one, have a go." And I was like, "Nah, not interested," because I was more interested in football. And then we got back in the car and went home. So that was that. And then Mum said she had forgotten something again. God knows, it could have been some carrots, I don't know. So Dad was like, "Well, we go back up there and grab them and then come back." And then so we did, and then he's like, "Oh, have a go." And I was just like, "Oh my God, just give me a break." And in the end, I actually jumped on the back of Scott Swain's bike, and he took me round, and then he said, "Look, do you want to have a go on your own?" 40 laps later, I didn't get off it. I think they tried to get me back in. I didn't come back in. So,
well, yeah, that's always a good thing, though, isn't it? Get the buzz straight away.
The Richmond boys, and yeah, that's it. And obviously, growing up with the Richmond boys, and obviously Scott Pegler was there. It was all them sort of riders that were Ben Howe. Well, you probably know most of them. So it was. It was good. It was kind of the good days, and then of course you'd have your training in the morning, Arlington, and then you go straight onto the main meeting, which was great racing back then. It was great, good teams coming, especially when Canterbury turned up or anything like that, or even Mildenhall. There's always a punch up or something. Yeah. So it was good times, and then I think as soon as you start kind of semi-professional, if that's what you want to call it, and things change, don't they? So things become more serious. So, but yeah, it was good, kind of growing up, being around some stars that turned into be some really good riders.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was great. It was great fun.
I mean, you're lucky enough to have grown up with a good bunch of lads, like you just said, like they said, Lee Richardson, Ben Howe, people like that. Probably even rode against someone like Scotty Nichols at some stage, maybe in your junior career, or was that a bit sort of later on?
Yeah, it was. No, we had we used to have meetings against Mildenhall, because obviously they were Mildenhall. So in the Mildenhall team, I think you had Sal Cloughton, you had you had obviously Scotty. I can't think of who else was in their team. Oh, the Johnson brothers.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So there was a lot that kind of progressed and went on. And yeah, so we used to have like meetings against them. I don't think we used to win though. I think it was always Mildenhall, but I can't really remember. Yeah, so it was good. It was good growing up with them boys. But I wouldn't say not so much in the under-21 final, because we always used to be a good lineup. But the boys that were riding in the league or whatever were always in the the under-21 final. So it was hard to progress, back in the day as such. So yeah, but it was good. It was good to be in that era.
Yeah. I mean, you just look at it now and you think it's crazy. All you guys grew up together, and look where your career's taken you, sort of thing. You look on the old the honours sort of thing. I mean, you got Scotty, British champion, GP rider, and then obviously Rico, Lee Richardson.
Yeah.
Obviously awful what happened to Lee at the end, but before all that and everything, it was good times. But then you went on to manage to get to the 500. You went on to ride for Sittingbourne. So tell us a bit about your sort of first early years at doing sort of Conference League, Division 3 level in those early sort of years.
Yeah, I mean, there was just a big jump, wasn't there? It was back in the day when there was just, I think it was just one league, and then they had the the Conference League as they called it, and I kind of knocked on every door really. It was really weird, and I was kind of being that wanted man to be beat really, which was a good. But I didn't really think about it back then. It was more as the years went on. Riders used to say, "Oh yeah, I couldn't wait to come to Sittingbourne." Oh, I've got another call. That's great. Sorry.
It's all right.
I couldn't wait to. Yeah, my phone ain't rung all day, and it's right.
Yeah.
I never used to think about it. All I was kind of wanted to do was win all my races. And especially around Sittingbourne, I don't know how many maximums I got, but I knew it was. I knew that at one point I had the most maximums in that league. So it was just good. In fact, I started to get more and more nervous because where I hadn't been beaten, it was really, really difficult to try not to lose that edge. But it was good, and it was but the jump going from the Conference League to the Elite League, as you knew, that it was such a big jump. The reserves, in that league were the following year were number ones in the Premier League. So which was the second division. So it was such a big jump, and I think at that point, me and Lee Richardson took that jump up. Our average in 86. Okay, it was only 1.775 average, but it was how they did it, I don't know. But and it was good to win, especially back in the day when I had the Conference League and then London Lions. It was good to win my first race. At London, that was really a real nice feeling. And in fact, that was the last meeting that they held there as well, and it was and funny enough, it was against Oxford as well. So it was, it was a funny old world. But yeah, it was good, but just a big jump. But it all just seems like a bit of a dream or a blur, or it was it was just such a big step. But it's just a shame the way it worked out. But having the Premier League, the second division, the second year when I rode for arena-essex, it was just such a breather. And I kind of dropped out the Conference League because I just thought I don't need to be in there. I've won pretty much everything apart from the Conference League Riders' Championship. I got to the final that year and I just lost it in the final because they did it over. They didn't. I think they did it. It was kind of. I think you had to qualify for the top four, and it went straight to the final. I just messed up. It was a Long Eaton actually. One of my favourite tracks. Used to love that track. But I just messed up in the final, and it was just one of them. So many times I seemed to mess up in the final. Whether it was a few times I had that, and it was it's hard to take. Really, it really was.
Yeah, because I think I've got one of my books with all the stats in it. It's got, yeah, I think you made, like say, made the final at Long Eaton. I think it might have been like 95, something like that.
Was it like,
And I think you're unbeaten all night. Came to the final.
yeah,
I can't remember who won it, and then you got excluded for, I think you
yeah,
like I said, for falling off or something like that.
yeah.
But maybe it's just that one final wasn't your thing. If you did it over 20 heats, you'd been perfect, been fine.
I would have won it. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
exactly. But then, obviously, yeah, that sort of time, 95, 96 was the year of the one big league. And then, like you said, 96, you jumped up near enough full time with London. And then you did, what was it after that? You said arena-essex in 97 to
Essex.
98. So that's
Yeah,
when
yeah,
obviously all the leagues then got split up into 3 different leagues, which made
yeah,
everything a lot easier for everybody. But in those
yeah.
sort of like early days of like London, and also you had a few spin outs with Reading and Oxford in 95. What can you sort of like tell people what the difference was? And I know you say it's a big jump, but when you ride against sort of like someone at Conference League level, so then
Mm,
the Premier League, obviously there was no that middle ground. And I mean,
mm,
when you saw riders like yourself and coming from an Eastbourne perspective, Darren Shand, people like
mm.
that who rode there, you could see that they struggled. Was it such a huge gap? Because obviously the laydowns were coming in as well.
Yeah, so we had that transition, didn't we, from the upright to the lay down. Actually, I had one upright and one lay down when I was at London, and it
Oh,
was
okay.
such a hard, yeah, it was hard kind of like to get that balance, you know.
Mm.
Um, it was just that so even converts into legends, but it was. I think it was mentally more than anything that you turn up in the pits, whether I was at and I can't remember some of the riders at Poole, but back in '95, or I remember being at Oxford, and you had people like Marvin Cox there.
Yeah.
These are like he was in the Grand Prix, like, and then I'm riding number 7, like I'm just this little Dave, you know what I mean, but it was hard to kind of adjust, and then I'd go to kind of Conference League and it was just easy. I just
Mm.
found it really easy. In fact, and that's not being big-headed, because I certainly wasn't, because if I was, I think I would have gone a lot further. But I just knew that I could go and beat everyone. I think that taking the confidence, that being in that league, and then taking it to the Conference League, wherever it be, whether I was going
Yeah.
to Buxton or I knew that I could beat any rider, and if I dropped 1 point, in the meeting, I'd feel really disappointed, So, but being in that again, in that in the especially I just remember. I mean, walking out, I still see it in my mind sometimes. On parade, especially when we were at London.
Yeah.
The team we had such a good team that year. Lee Adam, Larson, Kelvin Tatum,
Yeah.
Paul Hurry. It
Paul
was
Harry. Yeah.
it was such a good side, and walking out with them as my teammates, and then you could be walking out against someone like Ipswich, where you got Golub, Ricardson, like what the hell,
Yeah.
like. It was such a weird thing, but on the same note, it was great, and it was nice to a couple of times I got kind of pushed around a bit in the when I was running for London Lions, because they did mess me about a little bit, but on the same note, it was a great experience. And I remember one night I don't know why I was doing a 14 tournament at London, and I kind of pulled up to the tapes, and I remember being on gate 1,
Mm.
and I looked on gate 2, and it was Chris Louis. I think it was Chris Louis, Jason Crump, and Martin Dugard.
Yeah.
So there was these 3, and I kind of looked to my right and I thought, I've got no chance. Absolutely no chance at all. But anyway, so I've let the clutch go. And I thought, I can't see no one. Oh, maybe the red lights come on in a minute. And I got into the first turn. I thought, oh my God, I'm in front. Or maybe they've all stopped. Maybe they got tangled up with the tape. My mind was going like this. And I'm thinking, oh my God, behind me. This is all happening in seconds.
Yeah.
You guys behind me. Chris Lewis behind me. Jason Crump's behind me. No, something must be wrong. So I then come down the back straight, and they went, boom, boom, I was like, whoa! I kind of wobbled a little bit. I was like, whoa, okay,
Yeah.
all right, yeah, they passed me, all right. So, but you know, to get them experiences, and even when I got chucked in the deep end when I went to Stoke, and again that was Greg Hancock, Billy Hamill, and for some bizarre reason, again I might have been out at number 2 with Lee. So on gate 1 I had Greg Hancock. I was on gate 2. Billy Hamill was gate 3, and Lee Adams was 4. I was like, again, I have got no chance here. And I just literally dropped the clutch, and they were already gone. They were gone.
Yeah.
Before I'd even dropped it, they'd have gone, you know. So the difference in that league was just, you know, so. But it was good to you know, have that experience and ride against, you know, riders like that, because not everyone gets that chance, you know, whether it was Ricardson, Golub, you know, anyone like that. It was nice to kind of, obviously I didn't beat them, but you know, but it was nice to be in the same race at some point, and you know, it was good. It was really good.
Yeah, and I mean, also riding at London, Hackney. I mean, you guys are the last ever Speedway team there, so you know that must be a bit of a nice warm feeling in your heart, really, saying that yes, I rode the last meeting, and all that at Hackney. It's a shame it was obviously
I was
never more.
I was the last one off the track. It was,
Oh,
I
even
can't remember
better.
it was raining. It started raining, and I'm not sure what heat it was, but I think it was heat. It could have been heat 12. It was, I'm sure it was heat 12, and I just come third, I think, and I came in. I went back round, and I thought, you know, and then yeah, that was it. I was the last one off. I remember being the last one off, and then that's that, and then. Now it's all houses, and it's a shame because it was set up again, you know, lovely stadium, and you know, we've lost another track, haven't we?
Yeah, I mean, I've got footage of when Eastbourne were at Hackney and things like that from that year, and it looked like it was the dream basically for British League. It's just unfortunate that the crowds didn't come, and I think the track was a bit of a problem at some times. With being sort of like a new track laid in like the September or August of the previous year, sort of thing. And but after you went to London, after being at London, you went down to the new Premier League, the second division with Arena. Sort of how did that sort of move come about then? Was it a move you wanted to do?
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, Terry Russell said to me at the time, so I think he was BSBA chairman, and he said to me, what we're going to do, because you struggled this year, we need to get you, Lee. And it was kind of based around that sort of, you know, and I'm not saying they changed it just because of me and Lee, but they knew that we were struggling for that transition.
Yeah.
So they said that, you know, what they need to do is kind of knock it into 2 leagues. It gives you guys more of a chance to, you know, get you see, you know, maybe in a, you know, a slower way, if that makes sense. So, you know, it was nice to kind of hear that. And again, yeah, that's how it came across. So we got transferred to all the assets got transferred to arena-essex. So all of a sudden I became, you know, an arena-essex asset without even kind of knowing or even overnight. So, yeah, that turned up, and that was, you know, that was good. And you know, I spent a lot of time with, you know, with Troy Pratt and Colin Pratt, you know, at their house. And again, Troy was so good to me, you know, and at the time he was friends with Greg as well, Greg Hancock. So, you know, and Greg stayed at Troy. So it was, and sometimes where I stayed there, he was staying there. And that was really weird being, you know, one night and Colin coming in and telling off me and Troy because we were being too noisy, you know. So, but yeah, we kind of like had to like lay back on the sofas and just like, yeah, all right, you know. But you know, it was great to Troy was superb that year, and you know, he helped immensely, like, as did Jan Pedersen. He was he was one of the best team partners I think I've ever had. He would always look out for me, and he would never get annoyed if I was in front of him or anything like that. And you know, it was great. You know, as for some bizarre reason, I was always, I say not always, but I was not bad at the start. So I'd always beat people at the start, whether I was not quick enough after that, but I was certainly quick enough at the start. You know, he wouldn't get annoyed, but he would help me, and it was just so nice to have that, that team spirit, you know, and it was really, it was really good. And we were just, I don't think we did that bad that year, to be fair. I don't know where we finished, but it was good, and I had a reasonable year. I can't remember what average I got. Might have been 4.5, 5. I can't remember, but it was it was a good year, and it was just kind of it set ready for kind of the next year, which I think I went. Another call.
Another call.
Oh my god, so sorry.
That's all right. Don't worry, mate.
3 calls. Yeah, I've only been on 5 minutes. Got 3 calls. No. Yeah, so it was good. It was good because then it set myself up. I think 98. I ended up going to Newport, I think.
Well, on the notes,
yeah, it was.
On the notes I've got, you rode at Arena in '98, Newport, and you did a bit of Stoke. So you moved around a little bit. Was that right, or was that a bit wrong?
98. Yeah, I went. Yeah, no, Newport. Yeah, Newport was 98. Yeah, I'm sure it was. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I then got the sack. Yeah, and then we swiftly move on from that one, and then and then I think I did. Yeah, I think I did go to Stoke. I think they picked me up, and then I broke my arm.
Okay.
Like that. And then I'm Essex with Newport.
Yeah.
Had a fight with Craig Watson, and then got the sack the next day, and then I went to Stoke. Did I think I only did about 2 or 3 meetings with them, but they're all away meetings. It was never at home. And then I broke my arm at Reading actually. And then I went to arena-essex. Yeah, and then I retired, semi-retired. That's what you call it, in '99, because I just had enough. And then I came back towards sometime in '99 somewhere.
Yeah,
can't remember.
Yeah, because in '99, according to the notes that I got off the BSPA site, so if that's wrong. If my notes are wrong, that's their notes are wrong.
No, it might not be. It might be me.
It might be you then. All right. It is because you went to Swindon in '99, obviously then for the latter part of the season.
Swindon, yes, I did.
So
yeah. No, Swindon was at the beginning of the season.
Was it? Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, so I signed for Swindon, but my heart wasn't in it, to be fair, and I said to them that I wasn't ready. I wasn't up for it, and I tried as much as I could, and it was the only time actually I wanted to be under Mick Bell. Do you remember Mick Bell?
Yes,
the team manager.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's a lovely bloke, and I really wanted to be with him, but I just didn't feel comfortable. And then I think they brought in Simon Stevenson, was kind of floating around about that time, and they said that they're going to bring Simon on, and it was a bit of a relief, really, to be fair. I wasn't interested at all. So yeah, I only did a few meetings with them, but yeah, it was at the time it seemed a good move, but it just, for me at the time, I wasn't ready. So I had such a mixed year in '98, and it was tough to take in because at the time, as I said, Lee, Richard, and myself were kind of on 7, and then he started taking off, and I wanted to take off, and I started taking off a little bit as well, and we were both on string, and then I just stayed at a level, and for me it was really hard to take that in, so it was but that's what happens with some riders. They have a bit more. He didn't really have any luck, did he, at the end? But I mean, he had more luck then than I did. I always seemed to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, and getting myself in in trouble with promoters just but it just didn't work out on Newport, and then that was that. Yeah.
So basically, just 2 sort of like duff years, then, really. '98 and '99 were sort of the years you want to sort of forget a little bit.
Oh my god! I've got
another one.
Call. They're all different people as well.
Oh right.
I want to be a busy boy after this. But yeah, I mean, as I say, I was all ready for '98 in Newport, and I wanted to do really well there. And riding at second string with Craig, most part of the year, and Fryer as well, Paul Fryer.
Yep.
he was another legend, another rider I love riding with. Never moaned, always helped me. If I gated, he'd always help me. Him and Jan were superb, 97, and then obviously Paul in 90, 98. But I can't remember, 5-6 point rider at Newport at one point, and then it just didn't work out, and me and Craig fell out, and
The rest is history. Yeah, it's history.
The rest is history. Yeah. And then
Then after that, then we'll move on to a bit more happy times. And this when you sort of went on to the Right House sort of time of your career.
Yeah,
then.
so it was really strange because it was towards the end of '99, and Len came up to me at, I think I was in the Mildenhall pits riding for, could have been Mildenhall against Central, because they were in the final of the Knockout Cup.
Okay.
And I got asked to just do the Knockout Cup. I don't know how I even got into that. I really can't. I don't really remember. I don't really remember it, but I remember being there because I remember it being really dark. What a stupid memory I had of that night. But anyway, and I remember Len coming up to me and said, "Right, next year I want you." I was like, "All right, why? What's going on?"
Yeah.
So he was like, we're gonna bring Rye House back. I was like, really? Like, what? And then, oh my God, cool.
Another one.
Sorry, mate.
It's all right.
Another call. He just said, "Look, do you want to come ride for me?" I was just like, well, yeah. And then he saw I signed for it. Well, again, we all got sacked that year, didn't we? All 7. Was it all 7 riders?
I think
they went through 11 riders, didn't they?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, me and Troy were the first 2 out. So yeah, which I was so surprised that they sacked Troy, being that one of their sponsors was one of the promoters was Troy's sponsor, but. Strange moves, strange times, and it was just really weird. And Len said to me, because again, I had the 98 thing and with Newport, and I had that all the bad luck, and then bad luck at Stoke, and then I bad luck at Swindon, and then I thought, oh my God, I've been sacked again. I just can't be. I was getting to that point where I kind of had enough, and Len said to me, look, don't worry about it. Ditch the Premier League. Don't even bother going anywhere near it. Let's have a good year in 2000.
Mm-hmm.
Be the rider you can be. And he literally took me under his wing. He was absolutely superb. I cannot ask for anything more. He did everything for me. He came to every meeting knowing that I was there, and it was just really good, even down to I came 4th in the Riders' Championship. It was the same thing. And that was at Newport as well.
Oh right.
But it was just he was so good to me. And then and then obviously we then 2001 stayed in the National League.
Yep.
Again. And again that year I won the National League Riders' Championship, or Commerce League Riders' Championship.
Commerce League,
yeah, which it was. But we had it was so good, and then obviously followed on to riding the Premier League and being captain for 2 years in 2002 and 2003. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean at that time, I say Right House had just reopened when Len approached you. Then. So how was the new track when it was because wasn't it done as a stock car track or something like that? It had to be with tarmac diver or something.
Was it stock car track?
I mean, that's what I heard. I don't know if it was true or not.
They literally laid the shell on top. It was true. Right. It was all true. It was all true. But I absolutely loved it because it was such a trick track. It was tight. It was tight bends. It was narrow straights. It was kind of one of them kind of half Buxton, half. Arena-essex half, and then we going into Rye House. It was great, so, and it was great because I just love gating and then just kind of doing my own thing. It was really good. And, I think we had the that's when I got my first England under 23 cap thing, you know,
All right.
and Travis McGowan turned up. Again, he was the elite league rider back then, and I was just a national or conference league rider, you know, and I think I was the only rider to beat him that night. But it was just so enjoyable being, you know, it was just such a good track. And then obviously they changed it, didn't they?
Yeah.
In 2002, you know, so it was back to a kind of a normal track, not a stock car track. But yeah, it you know, every meeting it got better and better, but it was such a lovely place to ride, and having them, you know, Len and you know, people around you they're fantastic. Len, if you're one of Len's boys, you know, you would always see you right, and that was really good. And if you wanted something and you were struggling, he would go and get it. You know, if he knew that you'd put the effort in, he'd go and get it. If you wanted a new carburetor, I remember we all were struggling out the starts, I think 2002, and he brought everyone new carbies. So God knows how much that cost him. Like, you know, it was just mental. Yeah, I think that was down to Mark Courtney trying to beg him or something. But ended up with new carburetors. It's just mental how he used to just spend money, and it was really, really good, really good.
But with Len, though, he's an old-time promoter. He's been in the sport for so many years, and still is with Kent nowadays. But, you know, for have someone like that who's got your back and understands what the riders are going through, it's just a huge weight off your own shoulders more than anything. But, yeah, so great early years with Rye House. And then 2003 was the last year, which was in the Premier League, wasn't it, at that time? You've been in the Premier League then? Yeah. And then,
it was,
Then 2004, you dropped back down to ride for Weymouth.
It was a strange scenario to be in. So I think because in the previous years, I always thought I got a phone call. I never had to get on the phone, if that makes sense. I was never like that. That's again not being big headed. I just thought that's how it kind of worked. So they would ring you, you would go and ride for them. As the years, it was stupid, really. I mean, I should have done in 2004, latter part of 2003, prepared myself and then started asking clubs and actually get on the phone. But I never did that. So 2004 turned up and I was thinking, oh, it seems like Len didn't want me back. I was on an awkward average of 5
something,
whatever it was, 580, whatever, 6, whatever. So whatever. So I wasn't ever going to be a second. I was too good for a second string, not good enough for a heat leader. So he wasn't going to stick me in a heat leader berth. And I get that. I do get it. So I was just like, oh dear, what do I do? And then Glasgow rang me up, and they said, oh, you know, we give you this, we give you that, I'll give you the flights to go to Glasgow, and I can't remember what else. And I was like, why would I want to go all the way to Glasgow? You know, like, I just really was not interested in doing it, to be fair. And that's probably bad, but maybe I should have done. Maybe I should have done that, because actually I could have then stayed in the Premier League. And then out of the blue, and I can't remember when it was. It may have been May, because I was thinking, oh my God, I'm never going to get a team spot.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for someone to get injured. No one was getting injured that year, typically. I know it sounds horrible, but that's what you do when you're sitting on the line. You're waiting for someone to get injured. And Brian White phones me up from Weymouth, you know, and do you want to come and ride? I was like, what? Back in the Conference League? Oh no, not again, you know. But actually, it was really good. And, you know, I enjoyed it. I got back to winning all my races, and, you know, being number one and captain, it was good again, you know. So it was just nice actually going over the years, even back, you know, when, you know, being at Rye House, being captain, you know, being then going to Weymouth, being captain. I always seemed to be, it was just really nice to be either number one or captain somewhere down in one team. It was just really good to have that kind of achievement, really, because, you know, it's not always a tough decision for a promoter to kind of give you that, you know, the captaincy, really. And, but, you know, and especially when I was back in 2002, 2003, I used to sit on the tractor at, you know, at Rye House, and some of the riders I used to sit next to were like Cole Stone, you know, obviously being in the Grand Prix, you know, and he's captain, and then there's old little David Mason. You know what I mean? Like, he's not been in the Grand Prix. You know what I mean? He's not been a Premier League. You know, so it was really strange. And like, I remember sitting on the track and sitting next to Joe Screen, and we'd gone all the way around. I'm thinking, oh my God, that's Joe Screen.
Yeah,
oh my God,
yeah.
like, you know, but why am I captain and Brent Werner's not captain? And Brent's just been in the World Cup and just beat Thomas Gollop. Do you know what I mean? Like, how did I get this position? But you know, Len was so good to me. As I say, he was really good, and it gave me a little bit extra confidence being captain. You know, it was nice in that sort of sense. But again, great boys, Mark Courtney. You know, Scott Robson. He was fantastic. Another good team partner. He was really good. You know, Brent was good, but he just didn't like him. He knows that. You know, I spoke to him the other day about that actually. But he didn't like me beating him out the gate. But yeah, I mean, it was good. It was just a good era. And again, Eddie Kennett. You know, me and Eddie started off at reserve in 2003, and then we were, I think by the time the averages came out, he was number 1 and I was number 2. So it was just really bizarre. We won from 6 and 7. And then, of course, Brett Woodyfield and I can't remember, Mark Courtney, they went from number 1, number 2 to number 6, number 7.
Oh, really?
So it was funny how the tables, how it rolled. But we had a good partnership, and we got a few 5-1. So yeah, it was enjoyable, especially around Rye House. But I was like, going back to Weymouth, we missed the whole Weymouth thing. Yeah, so Weymouth came about, and I did a few months with them, and it was really good. And then the following year, they asked me back again. So that was the year when we won pretty much everything apart from the league. So it was such a good year. We had Lewis Bridger, Dan Gifford, Tom Brown, and we were all just banging in the points. All 4 of us were always guaranteed 10, 12 points. Well, that was going to win you the meeting no matter what. So it was such a good thing. And then we won the 14 tournament that year. That was really, really good. It was really good. Really good atmosphere. And it was so nice to win that year. It was really good. It was such an achievement, But yeah, it's just funny how it kind of rolls and how it ends up. I'd been in the Premier League and then ended up back in which was the National League back then. So yeah, it was just strange times.
Yeah, because I remember watching you, because that was the sort of time I was sort of doing the second halves on the 500 at Wimbledon and Sittingbourne and places like that. And I remember watching, I think it was down at Sittingbourne, where you guys went down there and just absolutely romped over Sittingbourne, and like I said yourself, I think Lewis was at reserve then. And of course, that was a trump card for you guys at that time. But I mean, like those sort of 2004, 2005 years, I remember being at the Conference League with like 16 teams, something crazy like that we had at the time when we were going up to Armadale, Newcastle, Scunny was just opened, and like I say, I was at Wimbledon mainly that in 2005, and I was done the pairs down at Wimbledon. I remember you guys being down there for that sort of meeting. Good old times. I think those 2 years, in looking back at myself, I think were the 2 best years at that level, because it had so many tracks and so many different riders to ride against.
Even the crowds, were good, and Weymouth on a Friday evening, you'd see no less than 3,000 people there, so and these crowd better than the Premier League at the time, and some may be elite league clubs, so it was such a big following, and it, again, we because we were winning, it made things even better, and obviously the crowd did turn up, and it was great. It was good, it's good times.
Yeah, I mean, because Weymouth was another technical track around the outside of the football, the practice football pitches, wasn't it? The training ground they had there, and things like that. So
I used to. Well, people used to come there and they used to get really scared because the track hadn't been laid properly.
Oh, okay.
And there was always these big potholes. And sometimes, you used to get like a decent rider turn up. It'd make a start. I used to be like, I'll ask him in a minute because he's bound to make a mistake. They'd hit a bump. Boom, thanks, cheers, see you later. So it was always, it was such, again, another small, tight, technical track. But once they had laid it properly and redid it, it was so smooth. It was really good. But so we say 2005 was a good year, and we won quite a lot that year, and it was nice to be involved in it, and it was great to kind of move forward and and then unfortunately there was I believe the person going to be taking it over, and it didn't kind of happen. So I just stayed with them, just doing some challenge matches, I believe. So, and that was again another frustrating year. I turned up at the National League Riders Championship because I didn't want to go.
Yeah.
Because we weren't meant to be in it. But they said, you'd be reserved. You might get a ride. I was like, like every year I've been in National League, I've always been in it. I didn't really want to be at reserve, And that wasn't being big-headed. And again, being at Rye House, one of my favourite tracks, I knew that I could, maybe win a couple of races or even win a race, Of course, it turns up and 2 riders get injured, and then we're in the main meeting, and then I've done 4 rides and 4 wins. And all of a sudden I thought, actually I've done 3 wins. I think I've done 3 rides, 3 wins. And the next thing is the referee comes down and says to me, "You're leading the meeting at the moment and you're a reserve." I was like, "Yeah, great. I've got a chance of winning it." He was like, "No." I was like, "Why?" He said, "Your points don't count. You know that, don't you?" I was like, "What?" So that year, I think I can't remember how many points I finished on. 12, whatever it was. I had 4 wins, 4 wins. Can't remember, 12. So I had finished higher than the people that come second and third. But actually wasn't allowed to get a trophy or anything. So it's such a bizarre situation to be in. Yeah.
So that's the one that you should have won but didn't win because of the rules. But
because of the rules again.
Well, we could spend all day talking about rules. But but anyway, moving on from that year, you went on to then ride for Mildenhall in 2009. So what was your sort of memories of riding at Mildenhall for that year then?
I mean, it was always something I wanted to do. I always loved the track and had a lot of good times there. Won a lot of races, and it was again back in 2000, 2001. It was a great era to be in.
Yeah.
There was a lot of fights and a lot of a rivalry between Rye House and Mildenhall at the time. So it was great to be part of that, and also then to kind of flip the switch and be actually riding for Mildenhall. And again, I had 2008 out. I'd helped Lewis Bridger mechanicking. So again, I had a year out, and I thought it was really I hadn't prepared myself, and I thought I would just fit straight back in and I'd go and win races. Well, okay, I slotted back into number 1, but I found it harder than I thought it was, because obviously everyone else had 2000, and I had part of 2007 off as well, because obviously I broke my hand. So I 2000, so I had it like a year and a half off. I just thought it would be easy to jump back on the bike and it'd be fine, but it wasn't. Everyone else had a year and a half on top of me, and I did some meetings I was good, and some meetings I struggled. And I totally admit when Mildenhall approached me and said that they're gonna release me, I thought that's never happened to me ever on a National League side. But actually, they'd done me a favour, because the moment they'd done that, I got in the van. I drove literally 20 feet out the car park, and Len Silver rang me. So he had already known. He was like, "Yeah, I already knew anyway. So anyway, do you want to come and ride for Rye House?" I was like, "Yeah, done, deal, done." Yeah. It was just seconds. So for that split, a few minutes of, "Oh my God, I've been sacked," to, "Oh well, up yours. I'm now got a team place again." So it was quite a real big, roundabout, and then I ended up back at Rye House, where it all started again. So but it was a tough week when we used to pull up at St Mildenhall. The track back then wasn't it was good back in the day, but obviously as the years went on, the track preparation was difficult. So we'd turn up sometimes in the stock cars. I kind of literally only just got off the track, so you turn up and it used to be a plough field. Well, me and plough fields don't go. So I was almost kind of down in the dumps before I even started. So that was a kind of a mind thing as well. But everyone knew that I used to like the slick tracks and things like that. But there's nothing to be ashamed of. It was just, that's how I got brought up. I was brought up on, you know, junior tracks that were slick. I was brought up back in the day when, you know, Lakes, arena-essex, Lakeside, Rye House, you know, all slick tracks. You know, I was never on a bumpy grass tracky sort of, you know, full of dirt tracks. So it was turn up sometimes and know that it was like a plough field, and I had to try and adjust myself to it. But anyway, I still had some good races there and still beat some half decent riders that year, even though considerably I didn't prepare for it one bit. So and then as I say, Len picked me up at the end of 2009, and then again back at Rye House again.
2010 back at Rye House, and obviously you had must have had another good year there, because home from home, you know, great promotion around you, great guys. And then after 2010, then you moved on to the Lakeside / Rye House Hackney team.
Hackney,
we should say Hackney when it was really sort of like the Lakeside and Rye House sort of thing. Again, that must have been interesting for yourself, having two home tracks with, really.
Yeah, but it was two home tracks that I loved, you know. So, you know, I'd always say that between the two, there were 50-50. I'd, you know, always, if someone want to go to Lakeside, if you want to go Rouse, So it didn't really bother me, and I knew that they were both trick tracks. I knew that I could quite easily go out and win races. It was just such an easy combination on both sides, you know. So I thoroughly enjoyed it that year, and you know, being at number one, and I think I asked to be dropped at number 3. I can't remember why. I really can't, but I think it's because I wanted an easier ride in Heat 12, maybe. And get away from the Heat 13s. So I think I think I even said give someone else a chance. I can't remember, but again, being captain and you know, riding there was, you know, it was good fun, and I just found again the points fairly easy to come by. You know, it was enjoyable, and you know, it was nice to ride on, you know, two different tracks, and it was good, and we, you know, I think we did reasonably well, and you know, it's just that the youngsters were coming through at the time, and again, I would always lend my hand to them, and that's what I kind of based myself on as the years went on.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the knowledge that you would have gained from doing near enough all 3 leagues during your career would have helped these young up and coming kids. And I know Len's policy is trying to blood the youngsters through, wherever it was, Rye House or Kent or anywhere really. It was his policy to get those kids coming through. But then obviously after the 2011 season, you went back for your final year, which would have been for Rye House in 2012. Again, home from home, probably the same setup as it had been for the previous 3-4 years, you know. But it must have been a bit emotional when you realised that you won't be going back after maybe several years after that season then.
Yeah, I mean, it was everyone knew. I think everyone knew that it was kind of, you know, they were struggling. We knew that, you know, Len was planning to do what he was going to do and sell up anyway. So we knew that things were happening in kind of like the back, you know, the back room and everything. But yeah, I mean, it was just a shame really the way it worked out. I mean, and then obviously moving on to Kent in 2013. That was it was all a whole new thing. I'm starting again track where I was kind of used to, like, you know, I'd go around with my eyes closed, literally. If you put a blindfold on, I'd probably still be able to go around because I knew my way around, you know. But then turning up at Kent, that first day, I was like, oh my god, like, here we go again, you know, different setups, which is, you know, and you know, I think again I did struggle at the beginning, and then it was just a hard transition going from there to there. But yeah, it was sad to leave Rye House, sad to leave all the memories, you know, there, and you know, riding in, you know, both, you know, different leagues, and you know, again, it was just, you know, we had so many good times, and we had some, well, you know, it wasn't all good.
No,
sometimes ending up through the fence, you know, and that's just how it was back at Rye House. You know, there was no room, so But but majority of the time, it was fun times, and and scoring points, was really good.
Yeah, because I remember doing talking back now onto Kent. I remember doing that closed behind doors meeting, that very first one when they just laid the track, and I think I was in the meeting with you. I was riding against you, and I think I was in it was in your first race around Kent, because I was the number 5, I think it was, in that meeting. I remember going around there. I remember doing the track walk, I think it was, and kicking it out, and then half the show just went like that over it. Yeah, it went like that. And I remember obviously you made a start and went, but I just followed you around for 4 laps because I was swear I was like I might have crossed sort of track going into the corners, but I must take my hat off to Len since that first sort of year. But it's come a lot better since that first sort of year.
Oh yeah, I mean, the track needed settling down. It hadn't settled down. It hadn't had time to bed in, and it was just like going back to Weymouth back in 2005. I was thinking, oh my God, here we go. Like, we got potholes here. Am I going to enjoy this year? But yeah, it was certainly interesting, and we had some fun times. Yeah. And again, like you said, like he after 2014, the track settled really well. And in the end, we were finding like it was blue grooves. You've gone from one extreme to the other. Why on earth the track wasn't bigger, I will never know. But that was the track that was put in, and that's the way it kind of ended up. But it was again another trick track, another Gators track, so it kind of suited me again. I was like, here we go. We had some fun times that 2013 where it was some tough. Oh, I remember just going into the turn. I was thinking, oh my God, what hole am I going to hit next? Yeah.
But the only saving grace about that is you rode it week in, week out, and you had an idea where some of the holes were. They might not be there the next week, but they were there somewhere.
They weren't there the following week because Leonard moved that hole and put it over there. I don't know what he was doing, but anyway, he stood by us, and it was good, and the other team. Yeah, it was just tough times. I'm thinking, I don't need this. I'm getting older now. I don't need to be hitting these bumps and these holes, and But it was interesting.
To say the least, it was interesting. Put it that way. But then obviously, you spent two seasons, and then you went back in 2016. But in 2015, you switched to virtually your hometown club of Eastbourne. When Eastbourne dropped down from the Elite League and made the bold decision to go to the National League with Martin and Connor Dugard at the helm. So, and obviously myself was in the squad team then as well. So it was me and you as teammates, which was kind of cool. But how did that sort of move come about then? Was you looking to move, or was it just out of the blue?
I think, it was a strange timing in 2014 actually, because I think that was the year that again Len actually sacked me for the first time ever, and I was really shocked again. So it's like just been sacked so many times, and again 2017 was just the nail on top of the coffin, wasn't it, when I got sacked from Lakeside.
Yeah.
But I mean, I just thought to myself, oh my God, here we go again, But there was such an uproar. He made that decision to get rid of me. But actually, I didn't realise it. Doesn't really matter now, does it, mate? But it was all a plan. So, and they managed to get me back in. It was good. And even though he said, right, you're sacked, a few days or couple of weeks later, he was like, right, don't move, don't go anywhere. You're going to be back in the next couple of weeks. I was like, what? Really? Yeah. How's that going to work? And I did. We did. They managed to fit me back in. How that was done? That was nothing to do with me. Anyway, I got back in, and it was good, and we ended up finishing really well again. So and then Connor just messaged me and said, what are you doing next year? Do you want to come and ride for us? I was like, what? Ride for you? What are you doing? And then Eastbourne then kind of turns up, and cool. I mean, great. I mean, it was great for me because it was just down the road. I found, and I can imagine Dave Norris must have felt the same. Like, it was just really weird only having the track on your doorstep. Like, trying to get that transition where you're normally like either an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours drive to a speedway track. I couldn't quite get the balance, even though it was great because it was only down the road. I couldn't get the balance of just, oh, it's 2 minutes down the road, you know. So it was really hard. I don't think I prepared, but I wasn't really fit. I wasn't fit that at all. And I kind of just thought that I would go in and score points. Again, it was just one of them scenarios where I thought, even though 2014 I knew that you had to be at that sort of level, and then 2015 I wouldn't say I didn't try. I think other things kind of crop up, don't they, in your life, and I was finding it hard to kind of really, and I used to kind of run and it was just until I broke my leg.
Yeah,
I
can. Yeah.
Because it was.
Yeah, because I remember being there, and I actually was on the infield when you fell right in front of me on bends 3 and 4. I remember that. It was one of the weirdest things. I was on the infield watching that race, and the next thing you know, I was watching you go. I think you were trying to overtake someone or something like that, and then it just went wrong, and it was a simple slide off into the fence.
Just a slide off.
And next thing I hear is you screaming in pain, and I'm one of the first ones over there trying to get the bike off you, sort of thing.
Yeah,
it's really weird.
I hit the only post in every 3 meters, so and as soon as I hit it, my whole leg just went crack, 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 crack. Like that's how it sounded, and it is such a weird feeling. If obviously you've had that experience, if no one's ever been on a speedway bike and they've had a big crash, it's such a weird feeling. It's so quiet. You're so lonely when you're having a big crash. And it's such a weird and strange scenario to be in, and people don't kind of realize that until it actually happens to yourself. Things are in slow motion, even though you're going at a rate of speed, whether that's 20, 30, 40, 50 mile an hour. It's all really slow, and you can hear a pin drop. You can hear your heart beat, and literally when you hit something and then your bone cracks or breaks, and you've done something wrong. It's just a strange scenario to be in. And so I hit the deck, I broke my leg, and then Connor decided to do a bloody selfie, and I'm thinking, what the hell are you doing? Like, come on, just break my leg and you just want to do a selfie, But and of course Eastbourne went on and won everything that year, and it was really good for them, and pleased. And and then Len gives me another call. Says, do you want to come back? And we had one of the best years I think I've ever been, even though we didn't win anything, but winning every match home and away was just phenomenal. We was the only team, I think it was, I don't know statistics, I don't know, up till July, was it mid-July, August, we were the only team across the whole world that had been unbeaten. And we've won every single game, every match. Again, it was so good. And but we were just, when we got to the finals, we dipped out. We just weren't quite good enough. And funny enough, it was against Birmingham. So it was just one of them things, So got another call coming in. Another call. Well, we had one for a while, so we might as well.
Yeah, because at that time you had Ben Ward in your team, you had Danny Ayres in your team. Did you have Jack Thomas that year, 2016? Was he coming through?
Yeah, because Jack nicely put me in the fence. Yeah, thanks, Jack.
Right, okay, so it's another nice memory.
Great team, man.
Yeah, that's what you want. But I mean, again, kids coming through. I mean, you were the elder statesman, shall we say, in the team at that point. But I mean,
we had Luke as well.
Oh yeah, Luke Bowen as well. Yeah,
yeah.
Again,
so
Right House from a Right House teammate with yourself, wasn't it? So
we had James Shanes. So I had James
Shanes as well. Yeah,
Shane. Yeah, we had such a good side. We were just winning. It was just such a nice feeling. The pressure was off you. You turn up, whether it be home or away. Home meetings were a bliss. We were pouncing everyone. And even going away, we were winning by 10, 20 points. And sometimes we're like, oh, who wants to do heat 15? oh, don't worry, just give it to one of the reserves. You know, like it was just so easy. It was just so good. It was, and everyone was just ploughing in the points.
Yeah.
As I say, we just dipped out on winning the finals, whether it be trophy, knockout, cup. We just lost at the last hurdle, you know, and you know, no one ever remembers coming second, do they? They only remember the winners. So it's just a shame, really.
But still, in that
Birmingham were good that year, and
it was short in that short space of time. The club itself has gone really well and got quite big in the National League. You know, that's a big achievement for such a small sort of club, really. But like you said, you dipped out to Birmingham in the playoffs, but still to even reach the playoffs in like sort of like the first 4 years of the club's history, can't really grumble with that at all. You know, obviously the next best thing is to win the league, but you know, still it must have been proud for yourself though.
yeah, it was something that I kind of missed out on, really, winning the league. But you know, when you look back, I was even like in the latter years when I was at Sittingbourne or whatever. You know, they hadn't built a team to win. Obviously, I was in there and I was scoring the points. I think I can't remember where it was, and I'd got like 21 points. But overall, I think we had got 27 points. So scored by the other 6 riders. So it was kind of always like that, really. But I never was in that chance to win. So we missed out in, you know, over the years, you know, certain times. But you know, it's one of them. We still managed to win a few, things. But I wish it had been a bit more than than what it was. But all in all, for me, it was great to be in every league.
Yeah.
To ride against majority of the riders, to also beat a lot of top riders. Well, it might have been only once. It might have been only just getting to the changing room, but I still beat them. No. Yeah. But you know, and it was great to be in the same race as other people. It was just good. It's been good to have that kind of that kind of feathery cap as such. So anyway, getting back to 2016, we then moved on to we had a good year that year, and Shane, Danny Ayres, obviously, he was inspirational that year. He was he had kind of come from this boy that turned up in 2014, and I said to Len, "What the bloody hell is he doing here? He can't even ride a bike. Why have you got? Hey, he'd be good. Yeah, but Len, he can't even turn. Oh my God, why have we got him? All the pressure's on us again. You know, it was a bit like that. It was him and Jason Garrett.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And and I was like, oh my God. So I helped Danny and Jason quite a bit, and Danny was like, oh, you need to show me how you get out of start. You're always quick out of start. And then before you know it, in 2016, he was beating me out of start every time. I was like, oh, I don't know why I bother telling these people. Yeah. But yeah, no, he had a fantastic year that year. And again, me riding with him week in, week out on the same races, he was just phenomenal. And he made my life easier as well, because he was, we was always there, and we were getting, whatever, 4.2s, 5.1s. He would always obviously try and win the race, but, it was great to be kind of like, pairing up with him, on every meeting. He was such a good character to have around. And an absolute nutcase, he'd finish the race and he'd be screaming at me in the crash helmet, going, "Yeah, Dave, we won!" I'm like, "Yeah, Danny, it's all right, mate. Yeah, all right. Let's go in. Come on, let's go in." And he'd go back round. It's almost like he won a world final, and he'd go back round again, and we'd only just got a 5.1 or something, but he was an absolute nutcase, on and off the bike. But it was good to be a part of that year. It was good to be in that team when we were winning a lot of races, and between us all, and obviously again, 2017 was a bit of a twist, and John Cook rings me and says, do you want to come and ride for Lakeside? But yeah, it was kind of course I would do, because I love the track. I wanted to do that, but it didn't quite work out how it was meant to.
No, I mean, obviously you didn't do the season, you didn't finish the season. You finished up at Birmingham, but did you feel after 2016 that this is going to, like 2017, would be your last sort of year, or had you thought that sort of thing maybe a couple of years beforehand?
I never wanted to retire because I
Okay.
never knew when that would be. But people used to say, and that would be the kind of the older generation that has gone, that they've gone through it, is you'll know when that will happen. And I was like, when? But I never knew when that would happen. And there
Mm,
was a day when that did happen. And I made up my mind there and then. I almost had enough. And I think it didn't help being pushed away from Lakeside again, because I just thought, oh my God, how many times have I got to be sacked
yeah.
in a whole career for no apparent reason? Um, you know, sometimes I just think, what is going on with this sport?
Mm,
And it was hard to take on the chin. It was hard to take on the chin back in them days,
yeah.
let alone 20 years later, and the same thing happens again. Okay, some people would sit back and go, "What? Well, it's because you didn't score any points, or it's just because you didn't go and get a maximum." Yeah, but
Yeah.
the National League wasn't that there for that, was it? I was
No.
there to help the youngsters. I was there to support the team. While at the time, I think Ben and Zach were 1 and 5, and they were scoring the points.
Mm,
That's what we were there for. Bring these youngsters through, and it didn't quite work out like that. John rings me up, says, "Sorry, mate, but got to let you go." Paul Hurry's released
yeah.
back into the team. And, I just think to myself, what am I doing? And then
Mm,
I think Lee Kilby rings me and says, Swindon are running a couple of meetings. Do you want to come and ride for them? And I ended up doing a couple for them, one at Plymouth.
yep.
And then out of the blue, Graham Jury rings me up and says, "Do you want to come and ride for Birmingham?" And I actually said, "Is this a joke?" Like,
Oh, right. Okay.
why do you want me? Like, you just won like every trophy the year before. It was you that caused me all the problems, and then
Yeah.
you want me to come and ride for you.
Yeah.
I actually said no. I did say no at the
Oh,
time. I
okay.
said no, and I don't want to do it. I said no, I'm not doing it. Sorry, mate. I'm pretty much done. I've had enough. And he rang me again and said, "Come on, like, come on, come and ride for us. You'll be riding number 3, Daryl. I can't remember who retired. Was it Daryl
You've
Ritchie?
done
Was it?"
Richard, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, he retired, and then he said, "Come and come and ride for us." I was like, "No, no, no," and in the end I did, and
Mm.
funny enough, it was against Lakeside. So the first meeting, he couldn't have timed it any better. So
No.
yeah, and it was nice to win in front of Paul Hurry. I was never a lover. I was not. I was never a lover of Birmingham anyway. I'd always
Okay.
have the odd. I'd always have the odd good race there. I'd always have.
Mm.
I'll probably come third, and then I'll go and get a win, and then come. I'd never hit like,
Yeah.
wow, not like a Rye House or a Lakeside, but at the end of the day, it was kind of like, well, I'm still turning wheels. I would still help the youngsters, and I took on uh, my brain's gone dead. Took on one of the youngsters when he was there. I can't think of his name. He's now retired, but
Oh.
we got him going. Yeah. Anyway, I can't think, but he will come back to me in a minute. But yeah,
Yeah.
again, I just enjoyed helping the youngsters and helping them,
Mm.
come through that year, and it was just one of them. It was just a strange scenario, but I just remember that time where I think I was trying to round Tom Perry at
Mm.
the time at Birmingham. Not a good idea, because Birmingham is not the way to go. If you want to get in that dirt, you've got to have balls. And I might have had some balls at the time, but I was not a dirt taker. I was just one
No.
of them ones that are an inside rider. So, and
Mm.
I tried to do it, and I messed it up, and I landed on the deck, and I just thought to myself, I hit my head again. I just thought, I don't need this anymore. I
No.
really don't. I really don't want to hit my head.
Mm.
Jack put me in the fence the year before, and I couldn't even remember where I was. And then I had a silly little crash at Lakeside that beginning of the year, and then I had another crash. I can't remember where it was. Swindon, maybe, can't
Mm.
remember. And then I just thought, I've had this crash now. I don't need this anymore. I am done.
Yeah.
So I got up, and Graham said, "Are you all right?" I just said, "I just need 10 minutes, mate." And I remember sitting there on the dog track, on the white little rail thing going past, going, "That's it now. I'm
You're
done.
done. Yeah, yeah.
And I
Sometimes just.
knew that was when it was, and I didn't know when it would be,
Mm,
but I knew that I was done, and you know, I just thought I can't take it anymore. I can't take the
mm,
bangs. I think that was more of it, you know, and you know, and naturally as you go on, the races do get harder because your reactions are slower, and how Greg and people like that did it at that
mm.
level. I take my hat off to them, because when you get older, naturally things slow down. You think more, and you know, so it was tough to take on board. But that was that, and then yeah, it was all finished, and it all kind of stopped.
Yeah, I mean, a sad time, obviously, to end the career of so many years. But you've literally done everything, like you say, going back to bringing the kids on the National League level. You were a kid at the very start of the conference / National League, like it is today. You know, so you know how it was from being the kids coming through the ranks and everything, which is something that you obviously kept with you for your whole career.
Yeah,
And things like that. Obviously, other people think differently, because other people nowadays it's all about winning leagues and cups and things like that. I think a lot of people forget that you had the kids coming from the junior leagues. I mean,
yeah,
I know myself, and like someone like Nick Lawrence used to struggle to get into teams and keep team places, because the clubs wanted so much success. They weren't sort of doing the grassroots sort of level, you
no,
know. But I mean, hand it to myself, I was never good enough in the end to keep a team place, which was a disappointment on my part. But I enjoyed my racing like you enjoyed yours. And then after the door closed on
yeah.
your career, the door to promotion opened up. So sort of give us an idea of how that sort of transaction came about then.
Yeah, it was a funny old thing how it came about. I mean, you know, everyone knew that it was up. It was kind of, you know, Tony wanted to retire.
Yeah.
Tony Mole wanted to retire, and then yeah, and it just happened. It was a really strange, bizarre situation. All of a sudden, then we're running National League, you know,
Yeah.
and you know, we had again Lawrence Lawrence did majority of the work again, but I mean he did. You know, we built a team that we thought that would win the league. You know, and again we started off really well, and then it started going wrong, and it started on that night when we had a couple of crashes, and
Mm.
you know,
Was that the meeting against
yeah,
Millwall when all those crashes happened? Was that the Millwall
think it
meeting
was.
where
Was it?
Jordan
Yeah, it was.
Jenkins broke his back or something like that, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, that was in. Yeah, Jordan broke his back. Jordan broke his back in heat full. Was it heat 12 or heat 14? And it was just we. It was three night, and obviously Mitchell Davey was the biggest one, where he stopped breathing on the track.
Yes, that's the one. Yeah.
And that was hard to take in again.
Mm.
Yeah. I mean, you know, see him and kind of, you know, disappear for a few seconds, and then the paramedics doing such a great job to get him back.
Yeah.
It was horrific to see.
Mm.
But it was a weird crash again.
Mm.
You know, all four riders went down. It was just one of them, and unfortunately, he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. And
Yeah.
you know, I managed to get his, you know, his boots off and things like that, and kind of, because that's what they wanted to do. They wanted to relieve him with all the pressure, because you've obviously got your suit on and things
Yeah.
like that, you know. But he was not. It was just horrible to watch and see. I never get that vision out of my head of seeing
Yeah.
him on the track. Not even here at all.
Yeah.
Not even. Yeah. And funny enough, it was really strange. It was the first visit. His parents were there, so
Oh, right.
to see that them obviously in hysterics and crying, and
Mm.
you know, it was just not a good place. And then we had to make the decision to carry on the meeting. So I had a meeting with the riders and said, "Do you want to carry on?" They all said yes. Lo and behold, John Jenkins wipes himself out in heat 14
Yeah.
and breaks his back. And the
Mm.
screams from that kid was just horrendous. You
Yeah,
know,
I can
he was
imagine.
screaming. I have never heard screams like that
Mm.
before. When Mitchell had crashed a few heats before, it was very quiet, and everywhere was quiet. In fact, you know, you could almost hear the clouds moving. It was that quiet.
Oh, really? That sort of eerie sort
And then
of sound then, yeah.
Yeah. And then to hear Jordan screaming it was, yeah.
Mm.
So he then broke his back. And then we thought, it's never going to end. And then the juniors, don't like I'm going to call them juniors, but the second half riders went out, and it was like a 3-man pile-up.
Oh,
And like
no.
I just oh my God, I want to go home. I've had enough,
Yeah.
So that night was just horrendous. It really was. So, as I say, it started from there. It snowballed. We lost every rider, didn't we?
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah.
I mean, I remember Callum's crash. That was terrible. He broke all his wrists, and it was just a bizarre crash. Tom Bacon, we lost him. He broke his back.
Yeah.
It was just never ending. We just thought, what have we done wrong? What black cat did we cross? And then obviously, that went, and that came and went, and we decided to. It was just one of them things where everyone was moving up. Eastbourne moved up, didn't they? It was that kind of same era, that same year, and we decided to put it into the championship. It was a tough first year, really. But we learned a lot along the way, and the riders were fantastic. They knew that we were, trying to fill our feet, trying to what the best situation is. Obviously, you've got promoters out there and stuff, and teams out there that've been there for years, so they knew what they were doing. Whereas we didn't know what we were doing as such. Even though you've been around Speedway for a long time, being a rider is completely different to being a promoter. So
exactly,
but again, coming back to it, Lawrence, he has been the godsend, and he takes it as like his baby. It's quite funny, really, but he was good, and he does everything. Pretty much, and it's good to have him on board, and and he knows the rules. If Lawrence doesn't know a rider, then there's no point knowing any of them. He's got every phone number, everybody's phone number. So he knows statistics, he knows the averages, boom, boom, boom,
I know, yeah.
Lawrence can put teams together while he's in his sleep,
Yeah.
So it's good to have the experience that he had, and that's why he wanted to come on board, back in the day, So, and then this year, well, as I said right at the beginning, it's gone.
It's gone, yeah. Yeah, nothing you can do about it.
Yeah. I can't wait to see the, when they're like, I don't know, 2005, Rider won it, 2008, and then 2020, COVID-19, so.
Be the thinnest yearbook ever, I think, won't it? So.
Yeah. Guinness Book of Records didn't happen that year.
Yeah.
So and I say, and now's now. So
yeah.
But we hope that I suppose Speedway's in a dark and hard place at the moment.
Yeah.
And I think everyone deep down knows that. And I think a lot of football clubs are in a bad place at the moment as well. Not obviously including the Premiership. So I think Speedway will be. It's going to be hard for them to bounce back, but I'm sure that something will happen.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what that will be. No one knows when COVID's going to end. No one knows if it will end. No one knows anything at the moment. So I just think everyone's got to stay positive. Hopefully there will be certainly something next year.
Yeah.
As I said before, they are working, to get that right, but you can't put that right if other things are stepping in your way, No.
I think a lot of the problems is also that with government rulings have caught everyone out. I know, looking on Facebook and seeing and everything, Rob Godfrey done well at Scunthorpe to get a couple of meetings on up there with social distancing and all that sort of thing. I think if the government allows sporting events with crowds, I think it would be something like maybe with like 15% of capacity, wearing masks, 2 meters apart from each other. I mean, that could help Speedway in a way to get restarted. But I think maybe even you might say you might even run at a huge loss, even if you only had that sort of thing. But you know, it depends how bad you want the sport to sort of run next year. You know.
Yeah, I think that's where it comes into it. I mean, everyone knows that the only way Speedway survives if people come through the door. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
we haven't got the big sponsors like football. I know I keep bringing football back into it. It was only because that's what's happening at the moment.
Yeah.
Football, they're allowed to carry on, aren't they? So
Yeah.
which is a strange scenario there as well.
Mm.
But yeah, I mean, it's I think that unless you have 100% capacity, how that's going to happen, you are not going to be able to survive.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, the riders are paid per point, and you need that money from the public. If the public aren't there, you can't pay the riders. So you do really not need to be Einstein to work it out. It is so simple and so basic.
Exactly.
But if the government won't allow it, then I really, really don't know what's going to happen. You know, as I say, things are being put in place.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that I'm convinced there will be something, but I don't know what it'll be. No. I just think that you know, everyone's just, like I said, got to be positive, and hopefully Speedway will bounce back and it will be, you know, really stronger than ever. But it's going to take a lot. I mean, it's not just Speedway, is it? It's every business. Every business has been affected by this, as I said. Some aren't. I say every. Majority have.
I mean, the whole life in general has been affected. You know, it's not just one bit, this bit, and it's not even been just one country. It's the whole world's been affected. So, but we'll move away from that a little bit. Since you stopped riding, or whilst you were riding, you managed to get your own sort of business going. Tell us a bit about that behind the scenes, and was that sort of like a helpful thing to you then with your speedway career, was to be self-employed a little bit?
Well, it's really bizarre because and I think that same question I still ask myself now and again. But before 2008, I used to work for Dad as such. He used to make me do ridiculous things like put myself in an oven or something and clean it, and I don't know, doing kitchen cleans in the middle of the night, you know. So I was always doing something, window cleaning. You know, I used to work with Mogo.
Oh, okay,
yeah. We did a lot of window cleaning rounds, and we had some fun times. Mogo's just a massive wind up that you'd ever believe. And yeah. There was certainly one time I remember that he just loved winding me up, because I used to be gullible and take it on the chin. So, and I remember one day we were. He used to pick Uckfield. Uckfield's a very quite a posh area, isn't it? So there was a lot of some parts of. But and Maresfield.
Maresfield,
yeah. So there was some. He always used to wind me up, and I remember getting there in the morning. 6 o'clock in the morning, it's freezing cold. He's got the hot water in the back with blankets over it. He's already done it. He's drained it out of his bath, ready to go. So when we get to all the houses, we can just then crack on. And so I pulls up, gets in the car. So, right, what's on the agenda today then? He's like, we are going to some really fit bird's house. And she is absolutely minted. And I'm thinking, wow, this is like, I'm looking forward to this. He said, we're not going to go there till the end of the day. He said, so there's a bit of time to kind of set yourself in with crack out some windows. By the time we get there, you're going to love it. Anyway, so a whole day he's winding me up. Oh, I bet you can't wait to go and see this lovely girl. That's, you know, she's stunning. And he's he's talking about the breasts. He's talking about everything. And it's going on. Yeah. It's winding me up. Right. So anyway, we pulls up at this house, right? And it is a mansion. And I'm thinking, oh my God, he's telling the truth. Like, Jesus, there's a Ferrari in the drive. There's tennis courts. I think the tennis courts were on my right. Yeah. And there's this big house. And he went, I told you. He said, I told you I would not let you down. He said, we saved the best till last. So here I am. I'm in I can't even remember what car we're in. I mean, it could have been in like a Ford Fiesta van, and I put the visor down. I'm doing my hair. I'm like, brilliant, excellent. I've rolled my t-shirt up, like I'm thinking, here we go. He goes, right, you've got to prepare yourself. She's a stunner, but I don't want you getting her number. Anything like this. Anyway, so let me do the talking. So he's round me up. Anyway, off I go. He said, you do the top, I'll do the bottom. So I've gone up to the top. He said, have you seen her? I said, no. Come back down. He said, go to the next one. So I've gone to the next one, gone up, nothing. No. Come down. I said, where is she? He goes, I don't know. He goes, just try the next one. I went, oh, anyway. So I've gone up, come back down, nothing. Right? He said, she must be round the back. I said, well, let's do these and we'll go around the back. So I'm looking forward to this. I'll go around the back. Anyway, goes up. He goes, she's in the front room. She's down here, quick. Anyway, so I come down, doing my hair as I'm coming down the window. Anyway, I come down and I get to the bottom window and there's this 95-year-old woman sitting in the chair. He goes, there she is. I went, where? He goes, there, sitting in the chair. And for the whole day, he'd wound me up about this.
Dear.
She wasn't 95. She could have been 90. I don't know.
Yeah.
But she was certainly old. For the whole day, he wound me up about this. And I'll never, ever forget that. But he was just like, he was in hysterics because he got in the car, in the van, chuckling away all the way home, like he did, But anyway, great times. Anyway, so coming back to, so 2008, Dad unfortunately got leukemia.
Oh, okay.
So he was getting ill, and it was kind of my time to really step up, really, and do something and take over the business. So I did, and things have kind of grown from there on, and we're doing okay. We're doing okay, and considering in these difficult times, cleaners are never the easiest people to, no offense, but no offense to anyone, but to deal with. So you have your work cut out. So but it gives us a living, and we diverse, and we've also got a warehouse full of stock that we sell to all sorts of things, whether it's restaurants, not open at the moment, but whether it's schools or you name it. We do a big chain of outlets for a home base. So we supply them with all the materials all across the country. So we just we do all right. So it's good, and hopefully we can just keep building and but it's a tough industry to be in. There's always someone out there that's got a cleaning business, whether it's like minute or big, but we've got good customers, and we've got some nice clients, and it's and we've got a lot of staff, so it's hard to keep on top of it sometimes.
But it's good that you've managed to you've got yourself a job. You're working hard, like you say, through these hard times and everything, still working hard. That's the main thing at the moment. But just before we wrap this interview up, it's been great talking to you, Dave. I mean, the stories are great as always. I knew you'd be good for a few stories. One of the last things was that you managed to appear in EastEnders during that Speedway thing. I know Troy Pratt was the main man that day, but what can you sort of remember from that? Because I know people would know this, and other people may not know this as well. So
it was a strange one to be part of, really. I mean, when Pete Thorogood phoned and said, "Oh, do you want to be part of EastEnders?" I was like, "Really? Like, yeah? Well, how much are we getting?" And actually, it was really good money for back in the day. I can't remember how much we were getting a day, to be fair. Troy must have got a lot more than all of us.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was great to be part of some big characters back then, but back in that time, Troy knew what I was like. I was a bit of a nightmare to kind of keep on a lead. So we did get ourselves in trouble at one point or two. It was twice actually. But some great characters in there. But I mean, I can't remember how it happened, but I managed to take his character's name, Phil, isn't it? Phil and Grant, isn't it? Phil's script. Well, I am, like, hey, what's going on? 2 weeks' time. Hey, yeah. Well, of course. He came straight over and snatched it out of my hands. He was like, what are you doing? You can't be reading that. It was confidential, but he had just left it somewhere, and I can't remember how I got it, but I just managed to, but I didn't obviously sell it to the papers and tell them when. But obviously, at the time, he probably could have got into a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
But, I had a scene with I don't remember their the actual names, but was it Mark Fowler? Isn't he?
Mark Fowler. Yeah.
Yeah, and I stood there and I was just kind of like, so how much do you get paid then? You know, like we're doing this scene. He's like, you've got to be quiet. But I was like, well, so how much do you get paid? He was like, enough. I was like, yeah, but how much do you get paid? Like,
give me a number.
Yeah, give me a number. But he wouldn't give me a number. But he was a really nice guy. And they all were. Everyone was. They were all really friendly. You know, we had everyone there. You know, which was good. You know, all the big characters, they all turned up. It was fantastic to be a part of it. For that, I think it was a week filming. I can't remember. It was quite a few days anyway, but it was good fun and it was enjoyable. But I did make myself embarrassed on one day, and we were in the pits and they were just doing the same. I don't know if you've ever been on a set.
No, I haven't. No.
Well, oh my God, they take so many like takes, you know, and I'm thinking to myself, you've already done that take. Why are you doing it again? You know, don't keep taking it. Well, take 2, take 3. We was on take 34, take 40, I can't remember.
Bloody hell, yeah.
I had, every time I had to bend down, pretend I was doing my clutch, and then get back up. So you think, down, up, down. Yeah. And I was getting fed up with it. So got to the 34th time or 36th time, I can't remember. So take 36, I've gone down. Anyway, as I've gone down, I thought, well, let's make it a bit interesting. Bianca and Ricky Ricky's over in the other side. Bianca's over this side doing something, I can't remember. Because we were in the away pits. And I think Ricky was in the home, Ricky was in the home pits. And there was some transition between them two. They had to do something. So it was like, because obviously when you are doing it, you have to be really quiet. You're not talking in the background. You're not doing anything. It's really quiet. So I've bent down, and as I've bent down, I've then just said, Bianca's got big breasts. Well, I didn't say breasts. I said the other word. So I said this, but at that point when I said it, the camera had turned off and it had gone dead quiet. And literally, you could hear a pin drop, literally. So everyone has then stared at me, including Bianca and Ricky, everyone. And I went as red as a tomato.
Oh, I can imagine you did, yeah.
I could feel the sweat coming off of my head. And I literally bent back down. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I actually just said that. But I have said it now. What do I do? But I mean, there was a bit of a chuckle. But I mean, oh my God, it was embarrassing. And bearing in mind, I didn't think everyone would hear it. I only thought the people around us, like the mechanics and things like that, would go, oh, yeah, so funny, Joe. That's good. Yeah. No. Literally, it was dead silent. You could hear a pin drop, and I went, Bianca's got big.
Yeah.
And then literally, oh my God. So great times. And so it was really good. It was nice to meet everyone, and they were all really friendly. And I say it went on for a few weeks. I think for a few weeks on BBC One, on EastEnders. So it was good. It was good to be. Yeah, we had some fun times, and I've been asked to do some good programs, all sorts of stuff. We did a BBC One thing as well. I don't know when that was, 2000 maybe 15, 14 maybe, I can't remember, but that was good as well. That was for BBC One of the drama series. That was good. Enjoyed doing that. So it's nice to be a part of it. It always seemed to be at Lakeside, funny enough. It was always there. They kind of invited people, obviously the TV crews down that way. So
I think because it might have been close to their BBC base at the time, the nearest track would have been that. I mean, it might have, I think the whole, maybe the EastEnders thing coming about was because obviously the British Grand Prix had been at Hackney for 2 years. Maybe if Hackney ran for 97, maybe the crowds may have gone there and things like that. I think it might have been more of a stunt for that, but unfortunately it never happened. It went to Bradford in 97, but still it raised Speedway's profile that bit more, after not being on a TV show, program, whatever you want to call it, for many years. But I was
just gutted. I just gutted that Ricky beat me. I was just absolutely gutted. I was just, even though it was Troy.
I say Ricky was a good rider that we didn't even know about. We should have signed him up.
Yeah, he was really good. For those couple of days, he was superb. But
it's good to hear that sort of like little story there, because again, nobody would know about it unless we had this conversation. So
no.
Exactly. Right. Anyway, mate, we've got to round this up because we can again talk for a lot longer. I know we can, but
I know so many stories. Yeah.
I know that you've got to be careful as well. you know, with the new hat on your head, you know,
Yeah, that's
with
it.
stuff
Exactly.
like that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
maybe we can do a part 2 of this of more stories with David Mason, something like that.
Absolutely.
Maybe one day.
Up for that. Yeah,
But,
there's always a story. There's always a story.
oh yes, there is. There's always a story. But and also you got to catch up with your phone calls now.
Yeah, I know. I can't remember how many we had. I can't remember.
It must have been about
Yeah.
4 or 5. But yeah, it's,
Yeah.
but anyway, cheers for that, Dave. I just want to say to
No
everyone,
problem.
if you've not seen the other episodes, they are on YouTube. Just simply type in the 5-1 Speedway Show. I'm on Spotify, the podcast. This one will be on as well, so you'll be able to listen to it and watch this one as well. Follow us on Facebook. Again, type in the 5-1 Speedway Show, and you'll find us on there. Like us, share us, do whatever you want with it. You know, get us out there, because you won't get these sort of stories anywhere else, I think. But anyway, cheers, Dave. Thanks for that.
No worries at all. Thank you.